Wello and good afternoon. My name is Natalie Bomstead, Wello's Executive Director, coming to you virtually from my home in Green Bay, Wisconsin. I want to thank you all for joining us here today during our first Connecting for Wellbeing with Wello virtual chat, where we're going to talk about community connection and well-being. At Wello, we are committed to the well-being of all who live, work, and play in Greater Green Bay. And now more than ever, it is important that we continue to connect in the ways that we can to protect and support the well-being of our families, of our friends, our coworkers, and our neighbors. And so in the spirit of virtual connection, we have a special guest with us here today, Carla Buboltz, who is the Wrightstown School District Superintendent and a valued member of the Wello Board. So thank you for joining us here today, Carla.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Wonderful. So part of well-being is about asking people how they are doing. So how are you doing today?
I think when we talked about scheduling this, I was like, "Ooh, it's not so good right now." But last week was tough. Last week was tough as we tried to work through the logistics of not having school. We did not have a spring break. So when the governor declared school to be canceled indefinitely, our kids were in school. They were here, they were learning, and so we had to hit the ground running. So last week was a little tough as we figured out how to make that happen. Fortunately, I had the weekend to take a little bit of downtime, and that has put me in a place that's much better. But I think, you know, crisis like this, you have to take care of the stuff in front of you first, and then get back into what's really become our new norm. So it's the virtual connectedness. That's our new norm. And so today I feel pretty good about where we're at with the new norm.
Good. So thank you for that. So you come from the field of education. You talked a little bit about kind of navigating through that process in real time. Can you kind of share with us a little something about what you would want the community to know? You know, whether that be parents or students, kind of further information that they may need to know about education, school systems, and kind of this new learning style that we're all kind of encountering right now.
Sure. As we started this process, really where we landed, every discussion, every decision we had was kids deserve our best. And that's how we operate every day in school. So our goal and our mission of providing a quality education and kids deserve our best doesn't change. Just the location of their education changes. And so I think what I would like the community to know, and really one of the most important messages that we've tried to send to our students and our families and our community, is we're still here. We're still here to help you find ways to work with your student, but we also are sending a message that you are still your child's parent. You don't need to become their full-time teacher. Read to them, talk to them about how they're learning, but also do the fun things like take a walk with your family, have a family movie night. But the other piece is that we're here if you need us. We are attached to you virtually, we're attached to you electronically, and it's really our goal to stay connected. Whether that's, we had one of our teachers who did some drive-bys this weekend just so that from a window she could wave and say hi to her kiddos. So I think that's the important message, is we're still here. You're your child's parent first. Support them in their learning, but we're here if you need us.
Mhm. That's a really important message, I think, Carla. I mean, for parents kind of navigating, you know, what do I do with my kids? I want to make sure that they're learning. I also want to have that time as a parent to be
Right.
there and do those family type things. So I think it's a really great message during this time.
Well, I think we have so many families who are also working from home. So we have parents who are trying to navigate a workforce now that's virtual for them, on top of having their children there. I received a message this morning from a parent who said, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I still have to get my job done. And so the message that I shared with her was, right, do your job,
Yep.
give your kids the opportunity to play outside, to do some fun learning, um, but really to just be a parent during the time when you're not working.
And I think there's a little bit of solace in that we're kind of all in this together, and we're all
Absolutely.
trying to navigate this quote unquote new normal together as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, so you mentioned a little bit about kind of recharging this past week, and we know that the past few days, weeks, sometimes it goes by hour, right, have been a
Yep.
time of really high stress and anxiety for many people throughout our community and really across the world. So, what have been some things you have done, or maybe even plan to do, in order to take kind of care of your health and well-being? So, really looking at if there's any kind of tips and tricks you could share with.
Sure. I think the biggest tip, that one that I is important for me, always has been important for me, is to look at every challenge as a challenge or an opportunity. And so this gives us an opportunity to connect differently with kids. It gives us an opportunity to reconnect with our own personal families. And so I think that's one of the tips that I would have, is to make sure that we look at this as an opportunity, not just a crisis, not just a challenge. I think the other thing is for us each day to find something to be grateful about,
Mhm.
because we can focus on all of the news that's out there about how many cases there are, and sadly how many deaths there are, and all of the things that we now have to do to help flatten that curve. But there's still plenty of things for us to be grateful for. And so I think starting our day with finding that piece of gratefulness, and then ending our day, and that helps build resiliency for us, helps build resiliency for our kids. um, so focusing on opportunities, finding the gratefulness, building that resiliency, I think those would be the biggest things. The other piece for me is to remember to do the best we can. These are unprecedented times,
Mhm.
and there's no script for this. And so if we can just say, yep, every day I'm doing the best I can.
Mhm.
And I think that helps. For me, my job doesn't right now require me to be in by 6:30 in the morning, or to go home, to have evening meetings. So taking an opportunity to start the morning with a walk, I usually don't have time to do that.
Mhm.
So since last week, I've taken that time. Helps me figure out what's the opportunity and what's the gratefulness. So
Yeah.
I think scheduling in those kind of things. The other thing is finding something that you love, that you can do in your home.
Mhm.
I have had 5 books that I've wanted to read just for the sheer joy of reading on my nightstand. I was ecstatic on Saturday when I got to pick one up and start to read for the sheer love of reading. So I think there's plenty of opportunities for us to find um, those those places for joy, and sometimes that takes a little bit more. But I think if we focus on finding that, we're going to get through this on the other side together,
Yep.
and in an okay place.
Yep. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I think especially that resiliency piece, I mean, that's a huge component of overall well-being, right?
Hmm.
For individuals and families, organizations, but for our community at large. And so taking that time to kind of recenter,
Hmm.
and find those things that are still, there's so much good left in the world.
Absolutely.
There's and so what are those bright spots, and really focusing on that, and um, focusing on the things that we can control
Right.
in
Absolutely.
that day to day.
Hmm.
So with that, in times of uncertainty, we often see many heroes emerge. So, kind of to end our conversation today, who or what is inspiring you today?
Right. And there are so many heroes that step forward at this time. And it's those little things that people do. Certainly our healthcare providers. My husband's in transportation, so the truck drivers who are getting all of those things. But for me, because I'm in education, this last week has been so inspiring to see our teachers really shine in a time of crisis. Rewriting curriculum to put everything online, digital, would have taken us 6 or 8 months. But
Mhm.
because we knew we needed to do it now, our teachers, our administrative team, gosh, our technology team, our food service team with 1 day turnaround figured out how to serve our kids breakfast and lunch. So for me, it's in the job that I'm blessed with every day in education. So it's our administrative team, it's our teachers, food service, tech people who are truly inspiring for me because they made things for our 1,400 kids as normal as they could. So they established a new normal, found the good, found the things that they could control, and truly inspired us to make sure that kids got our best. And I feel like over the last week, kids got our best.
Mm. Oh, I mean, and that I feel inspired by that, right? And to see people coming together in that type of way to really support our, our kids and our community in that way is
Hmm.
that is that those are heroes, right? In
Right.
the
Yeah.
community. Well, and we really appreciate you again being with us here today, Carla, knowing that there are so many demands on your time right now, and also with your continued community leadership and as we navigate these new waters together. And to all of our viewers here today, we also thank you for joining us, and we want you to further connect to us by sending us maybe some of your stories of community kindness and hope and those heroes during this time of uncertainty. So you can send us those stories at hello@wello.org or visit us at wello.org for more information. So until next time, let's stick together while we are apart to really build that social connectedness and that psychological strength that will really help us emerge with a renewed state of well-being. So I hope you all remain safe, healthy, and well. And until next time, take care.